What it actually costs to live abroad after 50. Hey, 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 freedom builders. Welcome back to another one. Let me tell you something most people never realize, and that is living abroad is not just about the wealthy or just for the wealthy. In fact, many people are living better overseas for less money than in the United States. So the real question is, what does it actually cost to live abroad after 50? Today, I'm going to break it down honestly and realistically. Why people get this wrong and why this topic confuses so many people. Most people only see one version of life, and that's the version they've always lived. So when they think about living abroad, they automatically assume everything will cost the same or more. But that's not how the real world works. Different countries, different economies, and different lifestyles. And once you understand that, everything starts to look a little different and comes into focus. So let me give you a general cost comparison. In the United States, rent alone can easily run $1,500, $2,000, even $3,000 a month. And that's before food, transportation, and everything else. So when people hear that you can live abroad for a fraction of that, it almost sounds too good to be true, sounds unreal. But let's break it down. There are so many myths, and the biggest myth about living abroad is that you need a huge retirement income, huge retirement account. Many people believe that you need 3,000, 4,000, even $5,000 a month. Of course, the more the merrier, but in many parts of the world, that simply isn't true. In fact, there are many places where you can live comfortably for half of that. But here's where things get interesting. Naturally, the biggest expense people worry about is housing. So let's start with the biggest expense. Now, if you're looking at East Africa, we're talking Kenya, Rwanda, Uganda. Of course, housing is going to vary depending on your lifestyle, but generally speaking, you can find comfortable housing around $300 a month to about $1,500 a month. I know that's a large range. Now, with utilities including electricity, water, internet, you can budget another $50 to $150 per month. Now, of course, location matters. City center living always costs more, even here in the United States. But if you're flexible and you can get away from the city, you can find very comfortable homes for far less than what most people expect. For instance, in Da Nang and Nha Trang, Vietnam, you can find beachfront properties for $500 per month. And many of those have utilities included. That's real talk, people. Interestingly, what surprises many people even more is the cost of food. Now, when it comes to food, in many countries, fresh food is incredibly affordable, readily available, and it's everywhere. You have the local markets with fresh fruits and veggies. Most of it's locally grown. In East Africa, you can actually get by spending $200 to $300 a month on food, especially if you're cooking at home and eating like the locals. Now, in my experience, I can honestly say the food quality is better. Every time I visit Rwanda and I'm there for 90 days or so, I lose weight. And not because I'm eating less. In many cases, I'm eating more. It's just that the food quality is better. Now, food is affordable, but lifestyle choices matter as well. So, another expense most people may forget to take in consideration when they think about moving abroad is transportation. And this is a really big one that can make a huge difference because in many countries, you may not need to even own a car. Depending on which country you're in, Public transportation is very cheap. I'm talking about mind-blowingly cheap. For instance, in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, you can get public transportation for 20 to 80 cents. 20 to 80 cents per trip. And that's from one end of the city to the next. Now, we're talking about East Africa. You should budget around $75 to $200 per month. Okay, so you also have the different ride services like what we would call Lyft and Uber. They're available as well, but they're much cheaper than what you'll spend in the U.S. So now you've eliminated car payments, car insurance, car maintenance. That's a major expense just gone. Now you have more money for other things. But one of the things I notice is that's not talked about enough, and that is the hidden costs. You may not have thought about because, yes, living abroad can be cheaper, but there are still things you need to plan for, such as healthcare, travel expenses, visas, and unexpected situations. Now, though we can't put a real dollar figure on that, there are just too many variables. It's smart to have some savings, a nice little nest egg tucked away for emergencies. Just in case you have to fly back to the States on quick notice, a last minute 2000 airfare won't destroy your long term vision. So let's be clear. This isn't about escaping reality. It's about understanding it better and making smarter choices. Because at the end of the day, living abroad isn't just about saving money. It's about a lifestyle change, a slower pace, new cultures, new experiences, etc. And for many people, after 50, it's about reclaiming a sense of adventure. And for some, a sense of finding themselves again. You got the time to yourself now. So instead of simply retiring, being a couch potato with remote in hand and, watching the grandkids and going fishing and all that jazz, this conversation becomes even more important at this stage of your life. This conversation becomes more important because after 50 and beyond, it's just, quality of life is just as important as the money. You got freedom, you got no stress, peace of mind. And so asking yourself, how do I really want to live the next chapter of my life? And so for me, it's about creating options, not limitations. Of course, every country is different. Every lifestyle is different. And every person's situation is different and unique. But the idea that living abroad is impossible financially is simply not true. And that's why on this channel, I want to share what my journey of building a location-free lifestyle looks like, exploring what's actually possible. So if that interests you, please consider subscribing and roll with me on this journey, because I'm building this in real time. And trust me, we're just getting started, and it's a lot more coming. So stay tuned, and remember, build freedom, live fully. Peace and love. We'll see you next week.